What's up, man? Your boy back again with another video. Appreciate all y'all that's been supporting the channel. There's been like a little struggle, a little push and pull in this country between trying to advocate for, migrants that come into this country and gain citizenship and all that stuff, right? But it gets harder and harder to try to advocate for, legal migrants to go through the process. Even though there's a ton of illegal migrants, or migrants, I should say, that are in this country trying to obtain citizenship the right way. They're going through the due process. But every now and then you get stories like this that makes it kind of hard to advocate for it, right? So this particular instance, there was a Uber driver who happened to also be an illegal migrant who ended up assaulting one of his passengers. So the passenger, turns out, was a TC BioPharm CEO. His name was Bryan Kobel. And apparently the dispute started over allowing the CEO's pet into the vehicle. He had like a small dog, and there was some back and forth about whether or not the driver was going to allow him to get in the car with the dog. Ultimately, according to the CEO, he said that, all right, cool, we'll just call another Uber. It's really hard to see or to tell what the way the conversation went, because the video that I'm about to show y'all, it doesn't really give you any context. You can't really hear anything, right? So we just basically going off of the word of the CEO. Now, I'm not saying that Uber driver had a right to put his hands on him, but I don't know if it was just, okay, all right, we're going to call another Uber. But I'm going to let y'all watch the video. I'm not going to let you watch the full thing because I don't want my channel to get a strike. But I'm going to let you watch the video, and then I'm going to let you hear from the CEO.
We had gone to get in the car, as is typical. I leaned in with the service animal to ensure that he was okay with the pet being with me. He said no pets. I said, she's a service animal. We clarified that. He objected 2 more times, at which point, which happens regularly, I told him, look, cancel the ride and we'll move on, right? I'm not here to impose that issue if he's uncomfortable. We walked around the back of the car. Next thing I know, he's out of the car in my face. I put my hand out saying, get your car, and that's it. Next thing I know, I'm on my back in the hospital. Uber is a $200 billion company. When you get in a car with the Uber sticker on it, it carries that brand weight. It carries the trust that you have in that brand. They imbue it into these drivers. So you would have assumed, and I had up until that date, that they do background checks. They vet these individuals, that they've got a stringent process that's difficult to evade. And apparently that's not the case. So I was taken aback, and it made me wonder, how often has this person done it? How many other times is this going to happen? And how do you change that narrative and fix this so that it doesn't happen to somebody else?
What did Uber do? How did they handle this?
Yeah, in fact, he picks up an Uber ride about 2 minutes later after leaving me for death. So when I got out of the hospital, I realized my account had been suspended. I corresponded with Uber. I sent them the hospital records. I sent them the police report. I actually sent them the contact information for the detective who was working on the case at the time, as well as had them speak to an eyewitness, and gave them my account along with pictures of the actual injuries. About 48 to 72 hours later, Uber just deactivated my account.
I have driven for Uber before, right? And the policy is, if someone has a dog, unless it's a service dog, you do have the right to refuse them. In this case, the CEO was saying that his dog was a service dog. Now, my thing is, how do we prove that they're lying? You know what I mean? Like, how do we prove that it is actually a service dog? Like, do they have to get in the car with the paperwork? You know what I mean? Who's really actually doing all that? The driver's name was Vadim Ulindes. I probably mispronounced that, but don't even worry about it. He was arrested and he was released on a $10,000 bond, but he was detained by ICE and they have a hold on him right now. It's interesting because he entered the country illegally back in 2022, and he crossed the border in California, and he was released back into the country under the Biden administration, allegedly. I don't know, man. I just reported on the other illegal migrant from India who, was driving that truck and he killed those 3 people. And there's been a petition everyone's filling out to try to get leniency for him. And listen, man, I don't think that anyone who comes into this country and commits a crime should be treated any differently than anyone else here in the state. Like, You go to another country, you drive a truck and you kill 3 people, man, in some countries that might result in the end of your life. You know what I mean? Like Dubai, they chop your hand off. So I don't know, man. I don't understand how people feel some sort of compassion for people who commit such heinous acts. But that's a whole nother conversation for another video. But y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think, man. Do y'all think that anyone who comes into this country, commits a crime, should be punished to the full extent of the law and sent back to their country? Y'all know how I feel about that. Please like, subscribe, and share if you digging the videos. Appreciate everybody that's been checking and supporting the channel, man. Until next video, man. Crazy.